But, you know, it's very, you know, it's out there that Terence Crawford is not just somebody I support, it's a brother to me.
Andre Ward has finally spoken about Terence Crawford's win over Israil Madrimov. Being one of Crawford's foremost supporters, he claimed the fight wasn't even as close as it seemed.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
You can fight number one, then you can go fight a B-level guy, C-level guy.
Andre Ward wasn't only a spectator during the preparation of the fight between Terence Crawford and Israil Madrimov, preparation against Israil Madrimov, but he was also heavily involved.
I'm excited to see him carry an event like this, of this magnitude.
He has always been rooting for Crawford and has even claimed that Terence Crawford was the kind of fighter he can bet his house on, to show just how much belief he has in the world champion.
And to be going up in weight, to challenge himself against Israil Madrimov, very, very tough task.
While preparing for the August 3rd fight, Terence Crawford added Andre Ward to his list of sparring partners. They had a great sparring together, and Crawford couldn't help but speak so highly of the former world champion.
I can say that, you know, I spar Andre Ward. That's dope, you know.
Ward, 40, retired in 2017 and has already been enshrined in the Hall of Fame. It was dope. I appreciate Dre for even giving me the opportunity to step in the ring with him, said Crawford. I can say that I sparred Andre Ward. That's dope. It was good sparring and a great experience for me. Once we got in the ring, we were locked and focused on the task.
A very good experience for me. And I'm gonna take it to the grave.
What kind of insight did he give you? Obviously, just a little.
And once the fight was over, Andre Ward showered praises on both Terence Crawford and Israil Madrimov after last Saturday's fight, which Crawford won in a hard-fought way.
Madrimov is not a guy you take lightly, but I'm not betting against Terence Crawford right now.
While everyone agrees it was a hard-fought victory, fans of Madrimov believe the Uzbekistan fighter did enough to win the fight, hence Terence Crawford's win was controversial.
Do you think it goes late rounds?
I think it goes 8-9 rounds.
The Hall of Famer Ward believed that Crawford didn't just become the pound-for-pound king, but also cemented his name in the history books of boxing. Terence Crawford is the best fighter on the planet, Ward said on social media. Newsflash, he's been the best fighter on the planet for a long time now.
I mean, Terence has a way of slowly taking over a fight, very, very strong and a powerful puncher. I think the power is going to show up at a certain point, but he's got to tame Madrimov.
Don't get it twisted. Madrimov is a great fighter and he showed what he's made of. He is probably the only fighter to ever trouble Terence Crawford this much, and one of the few who constantly run to the smoke. I respect that, Andre Ward said.
Because he's not easy to tame.
And we'll see tonight. Enjoy the fight.
I'm excited about that.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Andre Ward was also with Shakur Stevenson at the weigh-in to support Terence Crawford, and he wouldn't be happier with anything else but Crawford's victory. In the ring, despite the hardship, Terence Crawford showed Andre Ward that TGE sparring they had together wasn't just a waste of time, but a step towards making history.
Difference, bro. Terence Crawford the best dude in the division. Did he not?
Yes.
Crawford, now a 4-division champion and former undisputed 140 and 147-pound king, went the distance for the first time since 2016, ending a streak of 11 straight stoppage wins.
Yeah.
You can fight number one, then you can go fight a B-level guy, C-level guy.
Although Bud bested the dream, the win was nowhere near the spectacular performance Crawford pulled off last summer against Errol Spence Jr. in a career-defining win. The fight started at a timid pace as the switch-hitting Crawford immediately changed his stance from orthodox to southpaw to better get a read on Madrimov. A total of 5 punches were landed between the pair in a controlled, feeling-out frame. Perpetual patience continued in the second as neither fighter made a real attempt to solve each other's puzzle. To his credit, Madrimov was the one pressing forward as the habitual counterpuncher Crawford landed a few jabs. Both fighters combined to land just 13 punches. Crawford tried asserting himself in the 10th by closing the distance and battled well, but Madrimov continued to box beautifully by landing the harder shots in an even round. Crawford had his best round in the 11th, masterfully countering and pouncing at the sight of an opening after landing a left hand in the final 30 seconds. Crawford landed another short combination, causing Madrimov to hold. In the 12th, with the close fight seemingly hanging in the balance, Crawford pressed on the gas and landed back-to-back uppercuts from inside.
That's something you can count. Well, yeah, he does do that, Chris, but he has the explosiveness and the footwork to get away with it, and he doesn't.
Combinations followed, but Madrimov was never hurt. But his record suffered, as the 2016 Olympic silver medalist for Uzbekistan endured his first professional loss. Ultimately, Crawford was just a little bit better than his younger opponent and took the fight on scorecards of 116, 112, 115, 113, and 115. 113, meaning if Crawford hadn't taken the 12th round, the fight would have ended as a majority draw. Crawford landed 95 of 433 punches to 84 of 273 for Madrimov, according to CompuBox, showcasing how close the bout was overall. Madrimov was also able to snap an 11-fight knockout streak for Crawford. Israil was a tough competitor, Crawford said after the fight. I knew he was going to be tough, like I said. He's really strong, he's durable, and he took a lot of good shots. Like everybody knew coming into the fight, he had fast feet and good rhythm upstairs and was strong. He was waiting to counter me just like I was waiting to counter him. He fought a good fight. Madrimov said he felt he had done enough to win and asked for a rematch. His promoter, Eddie Hearn, was more upset than Madrimov after the fight, claiming the scoring felt like the scorecards were filled out in advance.
That's a dangerous punch to throw when someone's throwing a lead right hand at you.
Crawford had been angling to continue moving up in weight, claiming he wanted a shot at Saul Canelo Alvarez, the superstar who is unified super middleweight champion. After the fight, Crawford slowed down on the talk, suggesting he was still interested but not pushing hard for the bout, which Turki Alalshik said he'd already sent an offer to Alvarez for. You know what I say, if the money's right, we've got to fight, Crawford said. At the same time, he has a fight he's focused on. Getting into a fight is not so important to me. It's just another milestone to greatness, I suppose, and financially wise.
And his pace seems to suit him.
Ahead of the fight night where he got the 41st victory of his career, Crawford drafted in the services of boxing legend Andre Ward, who was seen doing some touch sparring with the Omaha Puncher. Ward uploaded a snippet of their move around to his social media channels on Tuesday morning, which showed Crawford working on his hand fighting at his home gym. The comments section was flooded with fans giving props to Crawford for the legendary link-up. Reacting to the clip, one fan wrote, "Iron sharpens iron." Another tweeted, "Two of the GOATs going at it." A third added, "Some knowledge in that ring." Somebody else posted, "This is why Terence is pound for pound. He has masters of the sport in his gym, and he gives them their flowers." Meanwhile, a fifth supporter remarked, "The two best Americans since Floyd Mayweather." Ward is one of a select few world champions who retired undefeated. Son of God famously hung up his gloves in 2017 with an unblemished 32-0 record after retaining the WBA, IBF, and WBO light heavyweight titles against divisional great Sergey Kovalev. Prior to moving up to 175 pounds, Ward had established himself as the No. 1 super middleweight of his era by winning the Super 6 World Boxing Classic Tournament and picking up the WBA and WBC titles at 168 pounds. Besides Kovalev, Ward also holds notable wins over Carl Froch, Mikkel Kessler, Chad Dawson, and Arthur Abraham, while you'd be hard-pressed to find a list of the greatest 168-pound boxers of all time that doesn't include the San Francisco superstar. With his eyes set firmly on a fight against Saul Canelo Alvarez at super middleweight in the future, Bud makes the first tentative step towards the division by moving up to 154 and challenging undefeated 10-0 champion Israil Madrimov. The former two-weight world champion, Andre Ward, has voiced his opinion on the potential super fight between Saul Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Bud has been targeting Canelo ever since he put in a career-defining performance last year against welterweight rival Errol Spence Jr.
Bud is definitely one of them, for sure. Tyke Shakur, Devin.
Although the Mexican originally dismissed the fight, he recently admitted he would be prepared to defend his super middleweight titles against the naturally smaller man if the money was right. Speaking on the All the Smoke podcast, Ward, who retired with a perfect record of 32 wins from 32 fights, named the two matchups he wants to see most in boxing, while claiming Terence Crawford is unbeatable by Israil Madrimov or anyone else.
Boots.
Boots is one of my favorite.
It's a lot of them. It's a lot of them, and they're skillful in different ways.
I want to see Canelo fighting Terence Crawford or David Benavidez. You have two options. You can go to somebody in your weight class, or you can try and pick on the smaller guy, Terence Crawford. On the potential Crawford-Canelo clash, his money would be on the man who last fought at 3 weight classes lower.
You know what I'm saying? But somebody that, like, I can bet the house on.
I'm not betting against Terence right now against anybody. Not doing it. Talking about the most skilled fighters in the game today, Ward says Crawford is someone you can bet your house on.
It's Bud. Because me and him, we so much alike in our mentality. Like,
somebody I can bet the house on is Bud. Me and him are so much alike in our mentality. He's skillful, yes, but his heart and mind are different. There's not a lot of guys like that out there currently. There's a lot of guys that talk it, but until you get in that real fight, I'm not saying a guy you should beat. I'm saying a guy that is a 50-by-50 matchup, then we don't really know what you have.
As soon as I see this dude, he come in the room or I come in the room, we start arguing.
He's different. He's a dog. That's the stuff that gets me out of my seat. It means that when you need to be that guy, you can be that guy. While Andre Ward is always speaking highly of Terence Crawford, it's not the case with another undefeated fighter who probably sees Terence Crawford as a threat to his undefeated boxing record.
About basketball, wrestling, anything.
Floyd Mayweather doesn't deny Terence Crawford's greatness, but you could always tell from his expressions that he isn't so supportive of the impressive boxing star. Unsurprisingly, it was the same way with Andre Ward, while Andre Ward was writing his name in the history books of boxing as an undefeated fighter. Well, as for Andre Ward also, it got so bad that Floyd and Andre Ward had a back and forth, despite Ward's gentleness. While both fighters were active, Floyd had made some funny statements about Andre Ward and his coach that drew a direct response from his fellow undefeated boxer.
203. Now, people talk about the 209 a lot from the 203, though. Right?
I don't know. We're not going
to... Andre Ward was the International Boxing Federation, World Boxing Association, and World Boxing Council light heavyweight champion. Andre Ward, when hit back at the retired former 5-division world champion Floyd Mayweather Jr., who recently had some choice words about the Olympic gold medal winner and his trainer Virgil Hunter. Then, Mayweather touched on a number of topics when he sat down with reporter Brian Campbell of ESPN for a live chat on Facebook. One of the discussions was pertaining to the rightful pound-for-pound king in boxing.
But one thing about me.
In the opinion of Mayweather, the best fighter in the world is WBC super flyweight champion Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, because he felt Ward should have lost his November fight with Sergey Kovalev. Ward, who got off the floor in the second round, secured what some felt was a controversial 12-round unanimous decision over Kovalev. All 3 judges scored the fight 114, 113. There was a rematch clause and Kovalev exercised his right for a second fight. I like Andre Ward, but one thing about me, call a spade a spade. Ward didn't win, Mayweather said. Chocolatito has to be number 1. He hasn't lost yet, and he's a hell of a fighter.
Floyd in him, not in his marketability, but in his ability to limit the damage, right?
There's a lot of.
Do I like Andre Ward? Yes, I do like Andre Ward. But Andre Ward has to make some major changes if you are going to fight Kovalev again. You gotta make some major changes. You gotta go get you a trainer that's been in the crunch before. Mayweather then went after Hunter, who also worked with such boxers as Andre Berto, Amir Khan, and several others.
Money Mayweather in him. Okay. Pretty boy Floyd is a total different fighter.
If Ward intends to fight Kovalev for a second time, Mayweather is advising him to get rid of Hunter. Virgil Hunter's not a good trainer at all. That's just my honest opinion. Virgil Hunter is a cool guy. He's a nice guy, but a guy who's never fought before. That's never been in a crunch moment. How can he tell you about a crunch moment if he's never been in a crunch moment? Mayweather said.
He's a combination puncher. Extremely fast. Probably the fastest hands in history.
He then added, I need a trainer that's in my corner that's been in there before and felt contact and knows how it is to be in a fight. I don't care if it's an amateur fight. You have to have some type of experience at boxing. So can Virgil Hunter be in my corner? Absolutely not. But do I think he's a cool guy? Absolutely.
Faster than Gary Russell Jr.?
It's a couple Gary Russells, right? I know there's one that was in the Olympics. There's another
that's the guy.
You're not talking about the guy.
Ward responded and said he won't be baited into a war of words. Floyd, I'm not taking the bait, but I will say this. When is it going to stop? How many more people are you going to lash out at? You're in a position to build up the sport of boxing and the people in it and not tear it down, especially the younger generation. Be a part of the solution and not a part of the problem, Ward stated.
What's the motive behind it? Because, like, we know a lot of the same people. We used to have the same manager, James Prince. I'm not hard to get in contact with. I've talked to Floyd several times on the phone.
Don't become another critic, the very ones you've been fighting your whole career, especially toward the ones who go through the same things you do. All the lashing out may make headlines, but it's not a good look, bro. We need to choose our words wisely. The people are listening. And even before this, their back and forth had gotten so intense that boxing fans raised talks of a fight between Floyd Mayweather and Andre Ward. Their back and forth verbal spat started by none other than Mayweather in an interview with Ben Thompson of FightHype.com, and a subsequent Ward quote was taken out of context and made into an eye-popping headline.
So if you really feel like it's something that, from a business standpoint, that, you know, I need to make some different moves and maybe I shouldn't do certain things, if you really care and if it's really an issue.
While it was an attractive effort to have made the two undefeated legends squash their beef in the ring, it was totally impossible, according to Ward. Although he's fought at the 154-pound limit before, Mayweather is best suited as a welterweight, 147 pounds. Ward, on the other hand, is a super middleweight and has fought almost his entire career at 168 pounds. That means that at their ideal weight, Mayweather and Ward are separated by 3 weight divisions, or 21 pounds. In boxing terms, that much weight is astronomical. With the weight debate already being seen as an obstacle for a Saul Alvarez versus Mayweather fight, imagine the complications that would arise for a Ward fight.
Pick up the phone and call. So, being that he didn't, that's his opinion.
Ward wasn't challenging Mayweather when he stated on Twitter, now known as X, that he would move down to 160 pounds to face him. But that announcement is what really got some fight fans excited about the possibility of a Ward-Mayweather clash. Just because Mayweather said he sparred with middleweights doesn't mean he'll ever want to jump in the ring with the best super middleweight in the world, and rightfully so. On the flip side, just because Ward said he will come down to middleweight to fight Mayweather doesn't make it a good idea.
Think about that.
I mean, he's right. You can't call out a welterweight, man. You can't call out a welterweight. Like, you don't get any stripes for that.
In essence, a Mayweather versus Ward bout would have been putting a blown-up fighter, Mayweather, who had never entered the ring over 151 pounds against a starched one, Ward, who would likely just blow back up on fight night. No matter who had the advantage in that scenario or how good either guy is, nobody really wants to see that type of fight. Fans want to see the best fighters fight the best opposition at the top of their game, not an altered, less effective version. Some would argue that testing your body's limits is what competitive sports is all about. One of the most telling statements that suggested this fight would never take place were the remarks Ward made after the initial sting of Mayweather's comments to FightHype.com had worn off.
And not even just me, but, you know, another legitimate super middleweight. Like, if you want Floyd to come up, somebody who's done everything in the sport, doesn't have to lift another finger in the sport.
Yeah.
When speaking to Ben Thompson of FightHype.com, Ward had this to say: I've been in boxing a long time, and rule number 1 is you don't call somebody out that's 3 weight classes lower than you. And to add on to that, you don't throw out a weight that you'll sacrifice to meet said guy at either. Moving forward, people should focus on the matchups that can be made for both men and let the Ward-Mayweather pipe dream go. And that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality contents like this. Until next time, peace out.